As you know, I've been working on this project, or talking about this project, since last winter. Camping season is pretty much on us, and I need to get this done. So I sat out here most of the day yesterday, and I wanted to finish up the Victron thing, and I wanted to show you guys, because some of you have asked me, well, what about the Victron? So here we are. It's not completely done, and when I get done, I'm gonna put a picture right here of with all the covers and stuff on, but I kind of want to show you what I did. Now, I'm going to be very honest with you. I am not the end-all, be-all, know-it-all when it comes to this stuff. I used Jared from All About RVs. He has on his website a really good diagram on how to lay these things out, and I'll be honest with you, I used that, and I asked a bunch of questions. A big shout out to Josh over at Rugged Red. I asked him a bunch of questions, and he gave me some pointers on a few things to do. A couple of things real quick before I get started on what I did. I'm going to add these pieces once they come in this week. I'm waiting on a few things to finish this up, but I'm going to add 2 battery balancers because I'm taking 2 12-volt batteries and making them 24-volt. This is a 24-volt multi-plus. Big shout out to E-Trailer for sending me that. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it. That's going to make our camping situation a little better. These two 12 volts, and put them into this Lynx power in bar to a on-off switch. Cuts off all the batteries to the inverter. Then I have a Lynx shunt and then a Lynx distribution bar, and all this basically takes the 24 volt, runs it into here, runs it back through here, and sends it back to the inverter. What this will let us do is if we harvest host or we want to stop and use our microwave, we can just do that. I've not added solar. I don't plan on adding solar anytime soon. I can add solar. Some of you guys are going to ask me, why didn't you use an Opus or some sort of power station? I really didn't want to have a system where I had to take something else. I wanted something I could have in here and get what we need to get done. This system will basically let us power our camper on an overnight. So if we're doing a long trip and we want to stay at a rest stop, we have the power to run the TVs, probably an air conditioner, run my CPAP. I use a CPAP guy, so I'll run that thing, and we can kind of function in our camper without using a generator and driving our neighbors crazy. Battery wise, what I've done, so I have 4 Epoch 460 12-volt batteries that I've turned into 2 24-volt battery banks. So it's pretty simple to do. And I'm not going to get super in the weeds on this because there's guys out there that are way better about talking about this stuff than me. But basically, you take these 2 batteries, do a positive to a negative, and then you run a negative to your bus bar, and then the positive bus bar, and that makes 24 volts. One reason why I wanted to do it that way is because one of the concerns I had about running it all on 12 volt was if we do something where we let our AC run all night and our batteries go completely dead. I didn't want to be in a situation where my 12-volt battery was dead and I couldn't run my refrigerator, or my landing gear would be stuck or something of that nature. So this 24-volt system is totally separate from our 12-volt system. So this is kind of how that system is set up. I do have the Servo GX, which is kind of like the brain that tells you what does what. I still got to figure out how to get that hooked up. That will probably be a rest of the day problem for me. And outside of that, this system is together enough, it should work. Real quick before I show you that, Valerie pointed something out I need to show you. So Epoch sent me these batteries, and one thing that Epoch does, and I'm charging 2 batteries, still trying to get them up to equal state. But they send you these, or you buy these, they don't send you these trays for your batteries. And how awesome is that? Because that just lets me have a cleaner install for the tray. And then I have these straps that go over them, holds the batteries in place. And I don't have just a random thing. And that was one of the things that I really struggled with when I started this, is like how to secure the batteries. I thought about making a rack that they could slide in. I didn't know how that would do with all the weight bearing down on one spot. So when I seen they offered these battery trays, that's really awesome. So those are coming soon. I'm gonna put those in probably tomorrow or Tuesday. I'm waiting on another fuse, a fusible link here. It's not really a fusible link, but a fuse that will sit right here next to this one. Then I can put all that in together. I've already made my battery cables, and I'll be honest with you, this is probably what takes longer than anything, is making these cables. They're not hard to make, it's just takes a lot of time. You cut them, you crimp them, and then you heat shrink them, make them look nice and pretty. And I did take my time putting all this together to make it look relatively clean. I wanted it to look nice in here.
Well, I know nothing about this, and it looks pretty impressive to me.
I wanted to be proud of it when you guys asked me about it at the campground and I show this to you. I wanted to be like, I don't want you to be like, whoa, that's a wadded up, knotted up mess. I'm not 100% sure. I measured all this stuff to make sure I measured it down from the frame to kind of get it straight. Our camper is not sitting here level, so I don't have it like fully fastened to that piece of plywood. We're going camping this weekend, and I'll probably put a level on them and mark them and try to get them a little more straight if they're not straight. So just if you say something, you know, hey, I'm working on it, I understand. And then one thing I also did is I left room in this corner over here. If we decide that we want to get buck wild, I can put another inverter right next to that one. So I have room for a second inverter if we decide we want to get crazy and do a bunch of boondocking or something like that. So this is a system, like I say, that will, and really my ideal behind this was be able to use the camper without plugging in. We've got a son that moved to Texas. We're going to try to get down there and see him soon. This lets us find a place that maybe doesn't have hookups and be able to survive at night and have a few options to get through to the next day. A few things that we're going to add to it. I am probably going to add a DC to DC charger because there's no other way for me to charge these batteries other than being hooked up to a pedestal, because I don't have a bunch of solar. What solar I do have running is going through the original camper system and charges the house battery. So that's all the solar I got. So one thing I like about a Victron system is you can make it as big and robust as you want. But enough about that. You're like, just turn it on. And I'm kind of nervous to turn it on because I'm not sure what's going to happen. We're going to turn on the 12 volt system. Don't look I feel like that guy, the electrician in Down Periscope. That's a great movie if you ain't ever seen it. That should, there, turn on. Oh, I clicked. The inverter. Oh, the inverter is on.
Like, is this your first time turning this on?
Mm-hmm. Let's go in the camper and see what works in the camper.
That's all you had to do?
Yeah.
Is flip that red switch and then flip that red switch and wait for the green light?
Yeah. She's looking at me like, I don't know about this. We are not plugged in. There's no power going to the camper. Can you see it? All right, let's go see what happens. Okay, Miss Valerie, the microwave is working and we are not plugged in. But before we get to that, I want to address the elephant in the room, which is that couch, and we'll get to that in a minute.
I know, they're thinking, wait a minute, I saw that white couch in there before, what's going on? We'll answer your questions in a minute, but okay, so just the Victron, okay? You said the microwave works. Okay, so what I want to understand on an elementary level here is we're currently not plugged in.
Correct.
I'm pretending we're somewhere.
Correct.
We needed power.
Correct.
I flipped the red switch, the other red switch, waited for the green light. I can come in here and use the microwave and heat up one of my healthy to-go meals.
Correct.
And also maybe turn on the AC if it's hot.
Not both at the same time.
Okay, just living room or bedroom.
No. This pulls for lack of a better term, a crap ton of...
No, I mean, I wouldn't be running the microwave at the same time.
Yeah, so you'd run your microwave.
Right.
Do-do-do.
Right.
Make your nice little meal. And then it's like, oh, you know, it's kind of hot in here, Jarrett. Let's turn on the AC. Fingers crossed it works.
Okay, but can we run both ACs or just one AC?
Just one.
Okay.
And then you
And
turn...
that's enough.
Yeah.
And then if the AC is running and we're cooling off or we're sleeping, yeah, it's working. Say, okay, now it's evening, we're cooling off and we want to sleep with the AC. What else can I do? You said I could run a hairdryer. What if it's morning? Do I need to run my hairdryer by itself, no AC?
Yeah.
So it's the same as being anywhere plugged in, because we couldn't even run the coffee maker and my hairdryer.
Yeah, because it trips.
Because I'd be drying my hair and you would start coffee and then everything goes haywire.
Yeah.
Is that going to be the same situation?
Yeah, because it's still the same, like fuses and whatnot. You would overload your inverter, which would kind of make it kind of do the same thing. It would trip off. And then the other thing is you have to go into kind of a thing of like water management. You know, like if you fill your tank up and you only have so much water, batteries are essentially like a tank. You only have so much juice. So with both batteries, we could probably run an AC for about 6 hours. But if you think about it, it's not going to run 6 hours straight. Once it catches up, it cycles on and off. So you'd be fine there. The big reason why I wanted to go the 24 volt route was because the camper is on 12. And so even if we run our two 24 volt battery banks completely empty, we still have power for our fridge, which is important while we're traveling, and we have power to pull our slides in. At that point, we could just get to a campground, plug in, and then when we plug in, it would charge the batteries back up.
Is this running off the Victrons all the time?
No, this runs off the factory non-Victron wiring. It's like how the camper came. The Victron runs everything else.
I gotcha. Okay.
So you know how like we have like the 12 volt plugs up in the front for like the fan and the cameras we charge. Those are all 12 volt with little.
So the fridge will always run even if we're never plugged in.
Correct.
You just have to turn it on.
Well, when you turn that one red switch on to the right, that's down by the batteries, that will turn on the fridge. That's
No, what turned it on before all this Victron stuff?
That same switch.
Oh, that switch was always there?
Yeah.
Okay, see, I'm learning things.
Right.
So is someone watching.
Okay, that's fine. Totally fine. Every camper has a built-in converter. An inverter takes 120, takes 12 volt and makes it to 120, and a converter takes 120 and makes it back to 12 volt. I'm using the factory converter in here. So I'm just taking the Victron, and if we're not plugged in, it's taking power from the Victron, running it through the Withco inverter and sending it back to the 12 volt battery. I'm going to try that. Now I do have a 24 volt to 12 volt step down doohickey from Victron that I also got that from eTrailer. If it doesn't suit me, then I will add that piece in later. So that's just kind of a down the road project or something to add to it. So is my Victron system completely done? No. Flip side of that is, are they ever completely done? Probably not. So, you know, I'm just going to kind of keep adding to it as I feel it meets mine and Valerie's needs. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so the 3 batteries that were in it currently, when we just showed them.
Correct.
There's 2 empty spaces.
Correct.
I was sitting on one of them to film this.
Correct.
The other one was sitting next to me.
Correct.
Those 2 are going to go in it.
Correct.
And will that increase what ability to do what?
It just gives us more power to run an AC longer.
Okay.
Do those type things. So it's just
more battery storage power.
Kind of like a water tank. It's just more fresh water.
Okay. So even though we're not plugged in, we still have to use one thing at a time, and that's okay. The benefit is we're not plugged in and we can still do those things.
Well,
because if we didn't have them, we couldn't run the AC.
Correct. Or the microwave.
Right.
And like the way I've got that wired up is you can shut the inverter off, which is the big red switch in the middle on the top, and the camper still works like it did since we've always had it.
So I understand like motorhomes have a generator.
Correct.
But like, how are other fifth wheels boondockable otherwise?
They use some sort of Victron solar inverter converter setup, and there's a million ways to do it.
Okay, should I have known that by now? Like, some come with it, is what you're saying?
No, not really. It's all added on.
It's all after factory.
And some will come with a small inverter. This is actually pre-wired for an inverter. The way this one is pre-wired, if you put an inverter in, it will only run the GFI outlets, which is like the hairdryer and the ones in the kitchen. It doesn't run anything else.
And Victron is just a brand?
Correct.
Okay, so you can do this with other types of batteries?
Correct.
Sorry guys if it sounds but someone else might be learning too.
No. So Victron doesn't make batteries.
Like, I haven't cared up until this point.
Right.
I don't watch these videos, okay?
Right. She's learning with you guys. So Victron doesn't make batteries. Victron makes components, like converter, inverter components. Epoch makes the batteries. And honestly, I was going to go with a 12 volt system, and I pretty much had it in. It was a deal for me of like, honestly, Epoch randomly sent me another battery. So they sent me a 5th battery, and I'm like, all right, what am I going to do with this battery? So I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead, back up and punt. eTrailer wanted to get involved in this project, so they sent me a 24 volt Victron. And so I'm like, I got that extra battery, so we're just going to go with a 24 volt system. Which, if I'm being honest, from everybody that I've told, is better for your electronics. And I spent the better part of probably 8 hours yesterday making cables.
Yeah, I can vouch for that. He spent the entire Saturday, which was beautiful, sunny, and 70.
I think the worst part about yesterday was I sat on that stupid shop vac, and now my butt really hurts today.
And now we can boondock somewhere for the first time and show you guys how bad we suck at that.
Talking about a.
Check out RV Kitchen Companion, because that's what I'm going to be using.
Talk about a. Like for years I've joked and said like mine and Valerie's ideal boondocking is a 30 amp plug, you know, and so this is.
I'm not opposed to it.
It's just so far out of the norm for us.
Well, for me, again, it goes back to when we had little kids and camping. It was being stuck in the middle of nowhere with no help and those kind of things I don't like. So our idea of boondocking still is near people and things. Let's go with that for now.
Sure, which is fair. Which is how we like to camp, because we're not full time, and so we're not like these. We're not always wanting to spend $1 million, but we're also not always looking to say we're not looking to camp out in the middle of nowhere for free either. So, what this does for us, in my mind, is when we go see our kid in Texas, or we go on a longer trip, instead of having to book a campground overnight, we can book a Harvest Host. We can stay at a rest stop, Walmart. Which 2 of the 3 that we would probably never.
I would not stay at Walmart.
But we have options. I'm saying like we could stay somewhere.
I would not stay at a rest stop. So
right.
we have to change those answers.
Well, so I'm using those as we could stay somewhere without.
I know.
because Valerie likes to have people around and feel like, you know, we're safe. So one thing I really want to say about these Epoch batteries, I've been really impressed with these. I've been running this battery, and so they're all kind of out of order right now. So what's going to happen is I'm going to get these batteries charged to 100%. I've got another charger coming. I actually ordered that off eTrailer today. We'll get everything to 100% so I can get them balanced. But since this is my oldest battery, I'm going to move it over here, and then I'm going to keep all my new batteries together. They have a really cool app, Epoch does, where you can go in and see what your battery levels are. And so if you look here, Val, you can see where I wrote the numbers on the end of the battery. You see the 391? Mm-hmm. And so if you go in here to the Epoch app on your phone, which is really neat, and if you look, see all the ends of the end number. So that 391 battery, I can turn that one on, and then I can come in here and look at the state on it, and it tells me what the charge is on it. These are not the most expensive. I think they've got a newer version of these batteries. These are what they call the Essentials. I've been running this battery running this particular battery for over a year, and it's been flawless. They're heating, they're Bluetooth. It's awesome because I can kind of get in and see how they're doing. But then also with this Servo GX up there at the top, once I get it hooked up, it will also look Bluetooth, and I can see what's going on with it from my phone. Again, a big shout out to eTrailer for sending me some of this stuff. And guys, I'll be honest with you, they didn't send me everything. I bought some of this stuff myself. And also a big shout out to Epoch. I mean, it's an American company. They make good batteries, and I've been using them for a while, and so far, so good. So we'll put a link to all this blue stuff, all this Victron stuff up here. I'm just kind of setting them on there so you can see them. All this stuff will have a link to it in the description, and kind of give you an idea of what it looks like when it's all nice and pretty and put together and covered up. Get on there. So that's what they look like when they're all covered up. And then I have this thing here goes up under there, and I'll take a picture and give you a better example in a minute. And then, guys, if you'd have seen the amount of tools I had out here yesterday, it was pretty gross. And then this is the cover for that. But essentially, when I get my other batteries in, I had to order one of these. I'm gonna have another one sitting right next to it with another cable going up into Links All Power, and that kind of finishes it up, minus running the smart cables to this, which is going to take me a little bit to figure out. And then I also have to run the cable from this to that, and that will kind of get all that done. So what do you think, Val?
Pretty impressed. Now I understand why you built the wall. All those wall building videos, mm-hmm. Check those out here. It looks clean and nice. Way better than what we got going on with our computers in our own home office.
And it's funny because I thought about that, because when I start to run the cable from this to that, and from this to that, and from that to this, you know, and then you start running like all those little cables, like, you know, like kind of like an HDMI cable essentially. It's going to be like, I really want to I've done so good at keeping this clean.
Well, when you showed us the cable that you said you, quote, built, and you made it smaller and you made it sized to fit, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, why can't you do that with other stuff? Just saying, like, can you?
Well, I don't know.
Because all those cords are not ideal.
No, I agree.
This looks nice, and I know nothing about it, but I think it looks clean and nice.
Once I level this thing in, I'm gonna get some hold downs to kind of hold these in, like where I want them. You know what I mean? So they look better. I just don't really know. Like, our camper's sitting here at an angle, and you probably can't tell from the camera. So like when I level it, I really want to get in here and see, is it actually straight? I tried to measure it from this beam up here down, but is the camper twisted a little? So you just don't really know. I apologize for making you wait so long for me to finish this. I know you guys have been anxious. I've had a few give, what about the Victron? So here it is. On a scale of 1 to 5, I'm gonna give it about a 3. It's making the cables were easy, just kind of figuring out how everything plugged together. Now I will say, them cables going in that right there, that's like a, I don't know, scale of 1 to 5, like a 12. That sucked. And that took me.
Oh, you mean 12 being bad?
Yeah, that was a pain. And it's got a little thing you stick a screwdriver in, and you put the cable in, you pull the screwdriver out, and it's supposed to grab it. And yeah. So, but outside of that, I mean, honestly, that there was probably the hardest thing out of the whole thing, and everything else was just kind of figuring and putting it together. But anyway, if you're interested in what we did with that couch, let's go talk about it.
Yeah, we're back on the hard, stiff recliner.
We're back on the Thomas Paine. And I'll be honest with you guys, like the other couch, like when Valerie said that she was looking for a new couch for the camper, like I was not on board with that, because like this is okay. This chair we're sitting on is okay, but it could be so much better. And I think what she was looking for was so much better, and it's really hard because of the way this slide is. And the reason the way this slide is when it comes up, it has to clear that island.
There's a lot that worked, and then there's just a few things that didn't work that caused me to say, you know what? It's too high maintenance. It's too much of a hassle. It doesn't fit perfectly. Let's try it in the office. So the couch is beautiful in the office. It fits, it matches, and that's why I bought that color just in case, because I knew it would look beautiful in the office. It is a little bit low, but what I love about it is that it does fold out into a bed. So when, you know, our teenager has more teenagers over, it's possible one might sleep over, we might have a grandbaby over, we might have the family, someone might need to stay. We're having tornadoes this year. Some of our family wants to stay with us, that's fine, because we have a shelter and those kind of things. So like it creates another bed in the house. And I think the reason why I finally decided, well, number one, I wasn't going to return it because it works great in the office.
It's almost like it was made for that space.
Yeah, but it wasn't made for this space. And because those feet were off just a little bit, you had taken it to the storage unit. Since y'all saw that video when we installed it, he took it to the storage unit, you brought it back, and you had left some stuff on the counter by accident. But this had also come off the slide, and it chipped that piece that was broke. And I thought, you know what? We're always going to have this issue where this black piece is popping off.
Right.
And then I just was like, you know what? It's a hassle. And you guys made some great suggestions in the comments of what we could do. Put a platform, raise the feet, all those things. But that was my point. I do not like hassle. And when I buy something and pay a certain amount of money for it, it better be the thing I need. I'm not going to keep DIYing it and spending more money on it at that point.
Like when we learned this when we traded in our 272 VRK was, if it wasn't pretty much like bone stock and didn't have like the original couches and the original whatever in it, they weren't interested in it. And so,
right. Do you guys remember that when we traded the travel trailer?
We swapped the couches back.
They want the original furniture in it.
And so we're just like, well, you know, so like doing all these extra additions, and I know there's really like, well, you just put in the Victron system. Fun fact about the way my Victron's wired up is I can unwire that joker and take it with me, and you would never know it was in here. And I did it that way on purpose. But that being said, is if we start adding to these slides and changing the floor and doing things, that's a little more telling on you, where you would maybe have more trouble
selling it.
Yeah, especially if you want to trade it. Now, if someone wanted to buy this thing, I don't think it would matter. They would probably appreciate how expensive all that crap was that we just put in it. So
yeah, it depends on what it is.
Yeah.
But when you DIY an RV too much, it becomes really hard to trade or sell.
Correct.
Probably can't trade it at a dealership. For those reasons, it was like, it's not perfect. You know what? I'm just going to put blankets on it and be as comfortable as I can in it, because we don't stay more than a week most of the time. It's manageable. I can take some Aleve and Tylenol and be okay.
In worst case,
it just is what it is. Maybe the manufacturers will start coming out with a way to work with dealerships where you can start choosing some furniture. Wouldn't that be something? But I mean, that's too hard, I guess, based off the models they sell, and they're all different.
Slide profiles are different, and you know, you're just looking. And I'll say this, like, I love this camper, and it's been a great camper, and I have nothing to knock about this camper. But I will say the best furniture we ever had was in the Nautica, the hologram.
Well, yeah, and we've talked about that, and that just comes with having a more expensive motorhome. You better be putting $300,000 worth furniture in it. I still have always thought this stuff is okay. This Thomas Paine stuff is not my favorite. I'll be the first to tell you that. Like, it's not great, but it will do, and I'm grateful. It's still a nice couch and a nice camper, and like, I'm gonna put some pillows on it, and it'll be fine. I no longer want to mess with it. Because if it's not made for this space and isn't fabric and comfy and soft, I'm not dealing with it no more. I'm tired of like putting in the time of research and shipping it back if it doesn't work and spending $1,000 or whatever. And that's not to say that nothing should be do it yourself, because there are some things that you can do yourself and they look good and fine. But there are some things that are just too much of a hassle, or they end up looking, you know, kind of janky and just not like quality work. And so you pick and choose what those things are.
Even if we put risers on it, like some of you guys recommended, or extended the platform, like, and we're going camping with our O&A base camp group next weekend, and like, I really wanted to have my projects, like my kind of pre-season camping projects done before this. And if we start adding risers and extensions and all this other stuff, like it's just all these projects that spill into, and like, guys, I just want to go camping.
Right, like it's just how much time do you want to invest in something? It's all that plays into it. And I'm like, no, I'm not putting any more time and any more money into this. The couch either fits or it doesn't, period, end of story. So there we are.
There you go.
That's the couch story. It's just wasted so much of our time.
Yeah.
Overthinking something that's like, this'll do. Let's just keep letting it do. And if we, because you don't love it either.
No, I don't.
If we have a moment, we'll just get our asses up out of this chair and go for a walk. That's what we're going to do.
Hey, I'm going to tell you right now, sitting in this chair after sitting on that Milwaukee air...
this is better.
This is heavenly after sitting on that damn thing for...
You don't experience the pain that I do.
Well, you fell and you busted your tailbone.
Yeah. Truth behind some of my personal tailbone issues is that I did fall on the ice 3 winters ago. And I've never fully recovered from that. And if any of you have done that before, you know. So yes, I've had all the x-rays and MRIs and tried to figure out, is my tailbone actually broken? And fortunately for me, no one can find any fractures anywhere. But yet I have this unexplained pain for 3 years. Doesn't that suck? And because of that injury, I also have sciatic pain, and that I've never experienced before. And so these issues are real, and I know you guys, if you've commented in that video, you get it. The ones who feel it get it. I've always had issues with musculoskeletal back pain and neck pain ever since I was in my 20s. He can attest to that. And so comfortable furniture is a big deal to a lot of people. I'm not saying I want to get rid of this camper because I love this camper. I'm just saying that we're always open to change, and I may not have to deal with this as long as we think anyway. Let that be a to be continued.
Oh God, they're gonna be like, what are they buying now? Thank you to E-Trailer, thank you to Epoch, and thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. See you on the next adventure.